Now, a completely different function called choose works in some respects like the lookup functions, but it doesn't require an external table. A lot of you know that given date information, you can easily extract the month of a given date, for example, equal month. Referring to this cell right here, you expect, because that's March, that's the third month, and that's the answer we get here. It's a 3. Now, armed with that information, you might say, well, a table the way we see in columns D, E, and F here would be ideal. We could put that up over on the side, and then we could look up month 3 and see that it's in the first quarter, because we're trying to extract or figure out what the quarter is here. Those of you who have a strong mathematical background are probably thinking, well, why do all this? Why don't we just do something like figure out what the month is and do some division, maybe use the mod function, some other things, and come up with a mathematical solution here? Well, that might be okay too if you are inclined that way, but think of how that might be a bit more difficult if the quarters aren't the standard quarters. Sometimes fiscal years, like in the federal government, begin in October. So ignore that for the moment and get back to this issue though. Rather than having an external table here, the choose function allows us to effectively store the answers in the function itself. Now the possible answers here, there are really only 12 situations. We've got 12 possible months. So what we're trying to store in effect would be the results or the numbers that we're seeing in column F over here. And so starting with this, we're using month as a starting point. What we want to use is the function called choose. And choose begins with some value that we're trying to look up. And in this case, it'll be the month that we're pulling out of the date in column A. That's the index number, comma. Now, if that happens to be a 1, it's January. It's going to be in the first quarter, 1, comma. If it's February, it's still in the first quarter, another 1. And if it's March, another 1. So you probably get the idea here. If this is April, the value is 4. Then here's the answer when it was a 1, here's the answer when it was 2, February, here's the answer when it was 3, March, and now we come to April, it's going to be a 2. So we need the same answer for May, and also June, and then moving into the next quarter, 3 3s here, and then 3 4s, and that's it. And because we have nested functions here, we do need the closing set of parentheses. So here are the 12 different answers, and of course they differ only in the sense that we got 4 unique entries, but 12 separate answers there depending upon whether the month equals 1, 2, 3, etc. So there's the result, and March is in the first quarter. And of course I didn't need to make the column water, but for display reasons we want to see this, so double clicking to fill in the other formulas here. And a quick check here and does verify that this is working properly. Now, if for example you work for the federal government or you have a fiscal year where the quarters line up differently, then you adjust this a bit, and you can imagine how that might be. In the federal government, and a quick adjustment here, if it's January, February, March, those are in the second quarter. So we would take out the 3 1s right here and put them at the end following the 4, comma, 1, comma, 1, comma, 1. Federal government style recopy. And it's used in some other organizations as well too. So March is in the second quarter, November is in the first quarter, and we see how this is playing out here. Once again, it's the choose function, so we have no external table. We essentially have the table built in right here. How many entries can you have here? Up to 254. In prior versions, it was more like 31. So, a potentially powerful feature. I've used it occasionally with great effect, and it does save you the need of setting up the external table.